Exactly. I want to pummel and obliterate my friends so they'll never want to play with me again.
Bam.
Oh, here we go. We're live.
Jake, get up here. We're filming. Couldn't start without Jake.
He's our mascot.
All right, Joey. Would you like to start us off?
So we're doing essential board games. We're trying to give you advice on what games that you need to have in your collection. Shouldn't be like a super heavy game because I figure these are people who are just starting their collection. And I wanted a diverse selection. Games that have different mechanics. A game for everyone who comes over. Something that everyone will like.
So I didn't do that. First of all, Joey has a much larger collection than me and has way more experience. I'm like a beginner-mediate board game player, I'd say.
Hey, this list is for you.
I tend to skew more towards liking more complicated games to my own detriment. So basically I just looked at my collection and said, if I had to get rid of every other game, I could only keep like 5. That's what I went for.
No, that's fine. It's your list, and I'm here to critique it. Well, do you want to kick off the list?
Carcassonne. Whatever.
Carcassonne?
Carcass 1.
Carcass 1. Carcass 1, Living Bodies 0.
So Carcassonne's like a very simplistic tile placement game where you're collectively trying to like build cities in like the medieval French countryside, and it's basically like city planning but against each other. So you could like screw each other over and mess up somebody else's city, or like put farmland where they want a road.
I think someone made like a Monty Python version, like customized theirs. You got to get the Monty Python edition.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
It's pretty new to my collection, but after playing it, I could just tell like
He really likes Carcassonne. That's his favorite. It's his go-to. He's trying to tell the people about Carcassonne, Jake. It's your favorite game.
But yeah, anyway, since Jake has stopped grunting, I like Carcassonne because of the simple rule set. Anybody can pick it up, learn it in like 5 minutes. There's generally like 4 rules. It's really easy to play like in between other games. Each round probably takes 20, 30 minutes tops. So it's a nice kind of like warm-up game. If you want a light game, this still has like a good amount of strategy.
Yeah, no, Carcassonne I think is a good pick. I've never actually played it, but I know it's like the tile placement game. It's very simple, but has a lot of depth. To me, it's like perfect. I like simple, but a lot of depth.
Yeah, I'm trying to embrace that a little bit more. Games where it's super easy to teach, easy to learn, hard to master, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Unlike the rest of my list.
My number 5, mine are in no particular order, is my party game, and it's Balderdash. And I talked about this in our party games video. But I think every collection should have a party game when you have that big group, and Balderdash is great. What you do is you get a card, and it gives you like a word, a movie title, like initials, and there's, I think, wacky laws. And it'll give you like, okay, here's the word ambidextrous, right? I don't know, I'm just making but it's like a real word. It's a word you'd find in the dictionary. You have to write a definition of what you think it means, or what you think other people might think it means. And then you read the real answer with the fake ones, and you're trying to pick the real answer. But you also get points if someone picks your fake answer. And it's so funny. Like every time I play Balderdash, it just devolves into we're not even trying anymore. We're just trying to make each other laugh. Like one time we played, and my sister, every answer she put had Billy Ray Cyrus in it. Like somehow, and it was so funny. But it's a great game, perfect party game. So
That's the best kind of party game where there are like ways to like win it, but people just completely ignore them. The mechanics are so much more fun winning, you know?
Exactly. That's the same with Telestrations.
Yeah.
Like you just play and you don't care.
Yeah. There's no point in like trying to win because it's just like just have fun. All right, my number 4 is Azul, which is another tile placement game. When you pull it out and look at it, it kind of looks a little daunting, but it's actually very, very simple to learn. And once you learn it, like the strategy aspect of it actually goes pretty deep. My strategy is always to go for columns, because in this game, like when you complete a row on your little like mural wall thing, it ends the game. So my thing is I always like either try and screw over other people by taking the tiles they want, or just like focus on making columns, then just wait for somebody else to like end the game. Yeah, it's a great game. It's really short, like probably 20, 30 minutes, super simple, so like anybody can learn it really quickly, but there's a lot of strategic depth to it.
Yeah, definitely. Azul I have only played twice, and both times I was like, I like this game. I have no idea what the hell I should be doing, but I'm having a good time. Like when you hear the rules, you're like, oh yeah, this is it's easy. And then when you actually play it, you're like, holy moly, I don't know what I should be planning, strategizing for. I'm just gonna grab tiles and hope for the best.
Randomly.
I have yet to see people dislike it.
I think the only thing that I've heard about the game that could be like negative is that they've come out with I think 2 or 3 other variations.
Right. Like the stained glass window one, right? Like,
yeah. Like the only thing I've heard is basically there's one. We can put him in the office. He's just been licking himself this entire video. Hey, buddy. I'm gonna need to do so much motion tracking to blur you in your ball sack.
Now you gotta keep that audio.
Anyways, I think the one that's like the stained glass window is just like the better version of it, so it makes it kind of obsolete. So I'm trying to get as much mileage out of the base one as I can, and I'll probably try that at some point and then be like, yeah, this is probably just better.
Yeah, the one I want to try is I want to try the chocolate one. I just like that theme better.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to have like a little chocolate box. So my number 4 is my card game, and it's Sushi Go Party, specifically. Don't just get regular Sushi Go, get Sushi Go Party, because it's better. Sushi Go is a drafting game. If you're not familiar with drafting games, you have a set of cards to start with. You pick a card, and then you pass your hand to the next person, and you get the hand from the other person, and then you take a card from there, pass it, until every card has been played.
Okay.
So you're essentially seeing every hand of cards, but you're taking cards, and each card scores you different points based on like whatever mechanics that card has. Like sushi rolls score you points based on how many you have. Or like, for example, there's like these special rolls that have different shapes, and you get points based on how many different shapes you collect. So you're like, okay, in this hand there's 3 different shapes. I'm gonna take one,
and hope
someone else doesn't take it until it comes back to me. But they might, because they'll see I'm trying to collect these.
Yeah. So how is the party version different?
Party version has different cards. So the base game just has a set of cards, and that's all you use.
Okay.
And you can only play, I think, 4 players. Party lets you play up to 8 people, and it has a whole variety of cards you can interchange.
That sounds super chaotic. Like
It's
8 people.
oh my gosh, it was fun. And the game plays like 20 minutes. So you play one round, and you're like,
That's
okay,
awesome.
let's play again. It's very simple, but has like a depth to it.
Yeah.
And it's a fun card game.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
Every time we film videos, I just want to play board games.
Me too.
I'm like,
Me
do you want to
too.
just turn this off and go play some board games?
Hey, video's canceled, guys.
That game sounds great though. Sushi Go.
I almost said sushi good. It's so
Sushi
good. It's good.
Sushi
good.
All right, my number 3. I think this might be where I start to get roasted by Joey.
We'll see.
Again, this is just based off my collection. Please go easy on me.
No, hey, your list is valid no matter what I say.
Just bad.
It's just bad. Just objectively bad now.
All right, my number 3 is Aeon's End. Just hear me out. First of all, I'll explain what it is. It's a pretty intense deck builder. It's cooperative, which is fun. It's very hard, like really fucking hard. I could have gone with like a less difficult co-op game, but to me, like harder co-op games are more fun because it still stays engaging for people who are like more into board games. I chose this over other deck builders because to me, it just felt really unique that you're like doing deck building to like help each other out. There's a few other mechanics that make it really fun. You're not allowed to like shuffle your discard pile, so like however things are placed into your discard pile, when it gets flipped over and turned into your deck, like that's how you have to play things. So it's really cool because there's a ton of strategy there. There's a bunch of different main boss people with completely different mechanics. So how you play against one boss is like totally different than how you play against a different boss. And then on top of that, there's a whole like supply mechanic. So there's gems, relics, and spells. It is just so much fun. And the fact that you would probably lose 80% of the time makes it that much more fun. You just build up animosity towards like one of the bosses. Like right now we're fighting the Carapace Queen. We probably fought her like 10 times. We're like, that damn Carapace Queen, she got us again. Ah, such a good game. It also gets me fired up.
It is a very fun game. It made my top 40 this year. For me, that's very good. I played over like 300 games, I think, at this point. So if you make the top 100, you're doing well. Aeon's End for me, not essential for your collection. Not because it's bad. It's very good. I think it's like a next step. Once you get your essential collection and you realize this hobby's for you, then you go to Aeon's End.
If you're like into deck building games and stuff.
Exactly. I think a good starter deck building game would be DC deck building game. It's not even my favorite deck builder. Not even close.
What is your favorite deck builder?
My favorite, let me check. Might be Aeon's End, actually.
I mean, it is the best deck builder, so.
As of right now, it is my favorite deck builder.
Yes! So that means your criticism of my list is invalidated by your own.
No, my criticism is this. It's a great game. It's a next step game, not an essential game.
Don't get it if you're just getting board games, but do get it if you realize you like deck builders. Deck builders in general, I really like.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Except for Dominion. Really don't like that one. Fuck that game. And if you like Dominion, fuck you. My number 3 is Flick 'em Up.
That
Plays
was good.
little wooden meeple cowboys.
Yeah.
And you basically, what you do is you flick these discs So whenever you want to move, you flick a disc with your finger and it slides across the table, and that's how you move your characters. And then if you want to shoot, you flick an even smaller disc and you flick it at your opponents. And if you knock over the opponent's figure with your disc, they do a damage to them with your gun. And I have yet to play this with anyone who doesn't like it. My friend was in charge of planning a like corporate event for her.
Oh yeah?
Her work.
Okay.
And she asked me to do like a game night, host a game night, and teach people games and stuff.
No way.
And I did flick them up, and that was the biggest hit of the night. People were cheering, screaming.
Awesome.
It was incredible. It was awesome.
So this one I actually have played. I think I played this one like one of the times I came over to your place for board game night, and oh my gosh, it was so much fun. But I just remember us being pretty bad at it. Like everybody we were playing with, like couldn't hit each other, and so it was like super high tension, and there'd be this super like tense moment where we're like about to hit each other and just completely whip it, and we're like,
It's fun. You need a dexterity game in your collection, and that's my personal favorite. I don't know. What do you have like a favorite dexterity game?
Favorite dexterity game? Jenga. No, I'm kidding. It actually might be Flick 'em Up.
Okay, yeah.
Like the feeling of getting a super long shot from like the other side of the board just feels so fucking good. Like you're in a Wild Wild Western movie. Actually, Jake wanted to present my number 2, Wingspan, which is probably my favorite game of all time.
I can get behind that pick.
Yeah. So for anybody who hasn't played Wingspan, it's a bird-themed engine builder. So we basically have like 3 rows. You have a bunch of bird cards that each have like different powers, like things they can do. Throughout the game, you're gaining resources, gaining eggs, so you can play more bird cards. And then basically like the more that you have in each row, when you activate that row, it like activates all of those birds' powers. And so it's just the most satisfying thing because it starts off like so slow. Everybody else is like kind of making progress on their board. You look at your board, you have like one measly little bird that just does nothing. It like ramps up slowly, you'll get like a couple more birds, and then eventually you'll have this like insane engine in one of your rows where you activate that row and it's just like 10 resources, 2 bird cards, tuck one, like measure one against the other, do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, cash the resources, and you're just like, yes, I feel so powerful. And the funniest thing about it is the theme of it is you're an amateur bird watcher. It just has nothing to do with the gameplay whatsoever. Like what you're doing is building an engine so you can ruthlessly beat the shit out of your like friends. It has nothing to do with bird watching, you know? I think it's probably just one of the most satisfying games to play. It's just such a pure, fun engine builder.
It's such a clean design too.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played a game that feels as pure as Wingspan. There's no clunkiness.
Yeah.
I think the only minor complaint, and it's not even a complaint for me personally, but I know some people have complained about it, is the randomness of the dice and the deck. It's not enough that I care about it personally, and it doesn't feel clunky to me. It's in my top 20.
I think the only time the bird feeder can feel clunky is if you're playing with a bunch of stingy people. If everybody waits to take the resource nobody wants, then you don't re-roll until you're down to 1 resource in the bird feeder. So if everybody's like, I'm not gonna take the resource until somebody else takes it, then you're just stuck with like no progress for like several turns. So I always try and take one for the team because it's just no fun if everybody's just sitting there looking at one like grub and like nobody needs a grub.
I love Wingspan. It's my 16. And like I said, there's no clunkiness to me for it. And I've never played a game that feels that clean.
I agree. I feel like if you add anything onto it, it might just take away from it, you know?
Exactly. My number 2 is the dice game for my essentials, and mine is King of Tokyo or King of New York. King of New York's like a step above King of Tokyo. I have both, and I think there's a time and place for both, but they are very similar. But essentially, King of Tokyo and King of New York, you're playing as these like kaiju monsters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and you're trying to like cause the most destruction. So you either win by getting points, which is like destroying stuff, or you can win by killing everyone else, killing all the other kaiju. Dude, and it's very silly, very fun. It's very cartoony.
Yeah.
It's designed by Richard Garfield, who did Magic the Gathering.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so legendary designer, you know, and it's a very good game. It's got Yahtzee mechanics, so you essentially roll like 6 dice. And you pick and choose what you want to re-roll. You get like 2 re-rolls. Yeah, it's just super simple, super fun, very quick game. Don't recommend playing with less than 4.
Okay.
But 4 to 6,
good game.
Solid, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Very fun.
That theme sounds incredible.
Yeah.
All right, my number 1 is, and I think Joey would potentially agree with this one. I guess we'll see. Is Scythe. It sounds like he doesn't agree with it. I like it because it's like really a mixture of a couple different genres, I'd say. Like it's got worker placement, it has combat. It's not really an engine builder, but it kind of has like some aspects of that. So it's like kind of a mixture of a few different genres, which all just blend like so well together. It's just cool because the mechanics outside of the combat are way more substantial than the combat itself. So there's so much for you to do besides fighting people that pretty much every time I play, we'll have maybe one time we interact like combat-wise with each other. But yeah, it's just cool because like there's so much you can do to like get your area working and like make sure you like get all of your mechs. I usually go for the technology, I think it's called, like where you take the cubes and like move it up so that everything is like more efficient.
Yes.
I guess that's kind of the
That's
engine
the
building.
engine build, yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's essential just because it feels like it covers a lot of different mechanics, that it scratches a lot of different itches. So I'd say it's medium, hard to learn, and then very hard to master. Like there's tons of strategy.
Oh, definitely. Not essential. It is my favorite game of all time. I love Scythe. Not everyone's gonna like this game.
That is definitely true.
I think it's too complex
That's fair.
to be like an essential. And also, I think some people will be turned off by the popularity mechanic and how it
really?
dissuades combat.
Oh, I like the popularity mechanic.
I do too.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people will not like that because they'll go in, especially because the box is very misleading about the type of game it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you see it and you're like, oh, this is gonna be like a war game.
Combat. Yeah.
And it's very much not. It's like gathering resources, controlling like different land. Like you said, you maybe fight once or
I think
twice.
there's one faction that incentivizes you to like be really combat heavy.
It's true.
I think, but
Yeah, that you don't lose popularity with one of the factions if you fight. Because essentially when you fight, if you drive workers out of that space, you lose popularity. And popularity in Scythe determines how much points you get per like scoring mechanism. So popularity is huge in Scythe. You do not want to lose popularity if you can avoid it. But sometimes you do just need that space. But I love Scythe, so it's a good pick.
It's good.
Great pick. Great pick.
All right, what's your? Anyways, what's your number 1?
My number 1, Everdell. So this is my medium to like a little bit more complex, but what this feels for me is a worker placement game. Worker placement is just where you have a series of workers and you place them on spaces to collect certain resources. It's also an engine builder because you're building up a little city, and I know you don't like this game.
You're gonna give it another try.
You might need to.
Conceptually, it sounds like it'd be a game that I love. But
Yeah, it's my number 3 game of all time. I really like it. I think too, why I think it's essential is a lot of people are in this hobby because of Catan, and I think it's Catan the next step.
Really?
Just slightly more complex.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Now, it doesn't have like the trading that Catan has, which I know is a huge aspect of Catan, but it has that worker placement where you're placing, instead of cities, you're placing, your little workers to collect resources to then build your city. And as you build your city, you get more abilities, and then you score based on how well your city's been built. Super fun, and I love this mechanic where you go into different seasons to basically get back and get some more workers. And I love how you enter those seasons at different times from other players. Yeah, and that's cool. Huge to the game. Like when you enter a season is like critical to whether you're gonna win or not. Yeah. And so knowing when to do that is like super fun to me.
All of the engine building aspects of it, a lot of when you get things from your people is based off this, when you transition into a different season.
Exactly, yeah. So you'll get like, and you also get more workers too with most seasons. But yeah, like you said, it triggers certain cards that you've built in your city to get more like resources. I really like it a lot. I think it's other than Scythe. Scythe's my number 1 game of all time, so that's my number 1 worker placement game. Yeah. But Everdell's my second favorite. It's my number 3. Wow. So
what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Heroescape.
Heroescape, nice.
I love Heroescape.
Heroescape is great. You know what? I think I might not like Everdell as much. I think it's because I played Wingspan, like fell in love with it, And then I think I went to Everdell because it has some engine building aspects to it that I was like, oh, this is gonna be really intriguing. And then they're just like they're super light.
That's true.
Because certain cards have like different abilities.
Yeah.
But the ones that are like the engine builder E1, they only get triggered between either 1 or 2 of the seasons. Like not all of the transitions trigger them, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it doesn't have that same big snowball effect.
It's primarily worker placement.
Yeah.
The engine building is just an extra mechanic.
Yeah.
That only really, like you said, takes effect like every other season, I think it is. You don't really see it play out as much. I was telling Kiana and Townsend, I was like, this could end up being my #1 game of all time.
Holy
like, it
shit,
could overtake
really?
Scythe.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's just so much easier.
Yeah.
It's like easier to get to the table.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
Has a tree.
has a tree. That's a big plus. If your game has a tree, bring it to the table. Yeah, no, it could, and I could see it becoming my #1 game of all time.
Wow.
If I play.
Yeah, I need to give it another try, dude. It's just.
Yeah, I love it a lot.
Yeah. What did you think overall of my list?
I think you had to. Hey, I'd say 3 out of 5. That's pretty good.
I would rate your list a. I haven't played most of them, so I can't give you a numerical score out of 5. I'll rate yours based off how badly you want to make me play the games after describing them. So 5 out of 5.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe 4.5 because Baldur Dash sounds less than.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's, yeah.